Hello and welcome to our virtual presentation for the 5th International Congress on Psychology and Education, held from the 3rd to the 4th of December 2020 in Bergamo, Italy, as well as a virtual Congress. The title of our presentation is From Commodification to Social Character, Progressing Critical Understanding of the Socio-psychodynamics of Power and Control at Work in Organizations. First, please let me introduce myself. That is SEVERIN HORNUNG and my co-author, Thomas HÖGE. Together, both of us are postdoctoral assistants at the University of Innsbruck's Institute of Psychology, and we are both part of a research group on critical research in work organizational psychology, which is our major field of study. Now this slide offers a glimpse of the beautiful scenery of Innsbruck, as well as of our university, and also gives an overview of the presentation contents. So there are basically three parts. First of all, I will want to read some excerpt from the extended abstract or the manuscript. Secondly, I will now walk you through some of the integrated graphical models and tables underlying this research. And lastly, I want to say something about the current state of this research and address some unresolved issues. And I may have to abbreviate and hasten some of these due to time constraints. Now, first of all, I want to start out by quickly reading or summarizing some passages from the extended abstract or the manuscript summarizing this research. We start out by emphasizing that the psychology of work cannot be understood without the dynamics of power. And we elaborate that the unequal distribution and exercise of power define the social architecture of organizations, which holds true for a whole broad variety of organizations, from those so-called enabling or soft or paternalistic bureaucracies to those contemporary human resource-oriented, highly individualized or post-disciplinary organizations. We then go on to say that the omnipresence and amorphousness of power is compounded by the fact that psychological domination and governance are often subtle, subliminal, and subconscious, and are obscured by socially constructed, ideologically distorted version of reality. However, psychodynamic social deconstruction, denaturalization, and reinterpretation, which would be needed, lack influence and impact. And this is especially the case for work and organizational psychology and related disciplines, which often neglect the interplay of power between top-down dynamics and bottom-up self-determination of workers, which has sparked controversy with research in other fields such as critical management studies and critical sociology. The method that we have used here is basically a literature review and a conceptual integration and theory development, drawing on a large amount of literature from psychology, social philosophy, sociology, and management studies, which are assembled into what we call a critical socio-psychodynamic perspective on power in work organizations. And this is done as part of a broader intellectual project to reinvigorate, extend, and also to radicalize critical debate in the field of applied psychology. Now, in terms of outcomes, what we're presenting is an integrated multi-level systems model, and we developed this drawing on labor process analysis. We're synthesizing historical periodizations of the capitalist labor process, integrate different combinations of managerial control as well as domains of critical study into a dynamic nested multi-level system model, which comprises economy, society, organization, individual, and subconscious. And here now we are transitioning into the areas that are still under construction or currently under development, is specifically this sub-level of psychodynamic or phantasmatic logic, which is susceptible mostly to unconscious control, and the process of subjectification and governmentality that are at work here, imposing system justifying beliefs and fantasies as symptoms of ideological indoctrination and hegemony. So this psychodynamic, or exploring this psychodynamic deep structure of power is what we're currently focusing on, and how those macro processes on a suicidal level are replicated on a psychological or like a psychodynamic level. We will come back to this material again, and I will have to skip over it now for reasons of time. And now this slide provides you with some selected literature and acknowledgements regarding the chronology of the study. Now this slide finally introduces the integrated dynamic multi-level systems model that we suggest for analyzing socio-psychodynamic patterns of power at work. And I will now go through the different elements of this model. So first and foremost, the model consists of a number of integrated taxonomies, as you can see on the left-hand side. Importantly, this refers to the distinguished forms of power and control, as well as the different system levels, associated domains, and corresponding system logics. And then on your right-hand side, you get an idea of the structure relationships and the tensions and dynamics between different elements in the model, which we have here conceptualized in terms of sociodynamic interfaces, basically referring to reciprocal cross-level interactions, upwards and downwards, and then the idea of autopoietic self-referential patterns of self-similarity, resembling fractals across different scales of analysis. So what I want to talk about first and foremost today is the taxonomy of different modes of power and control. So this table displays the historical and theoretical background of the distinguished forms of organizational power and control. And each of the four forms is associated with a distinct historical phase, starting from the early industrial revolution to the era of mass production, to the post-industrial transformation, and the era of advanced neoliberal capitalism of today. And each of these historical eras is associated with key forms of institutions and technologies and management models and form of managerial control. Now, this slide summarizes what I just said in terms of our use of labor process analysis, the historical taxonomy that we use, the different associated forms of managerial control, as well as the inclusion of different domains of critical inquiry, and the combination of this into a multi-level systems model of power structures and dynamics, including society, organization, individual, as well as a meta level of the political economic superstructure of global neoliberal capitalism, but also a sub-level of psychodynamic processes. Now, in the following slides, you will see a number of tables and processes that were used to develop the taxonomies integrated here into that structure model. For example, in this slide, we took the model of neoliberal ideology by Ball and Dorsey and further differentiated the levels, the social logics, as well as the domains, and we added the domains and the several like cross references and further differentiations. I will not be able to go into much detail here, but just will show you a quick brief view of the slides. So what you can see here is an alternative way to think about the developed model in terms of like a layered model of here 5-layered systems model, where each layer contains the other layers in some way, shape, or form, in terms of these fractals or self similar elements. So specifically on the organizational level, you have a management, control, and compliance system, which include the individual level, the unconscious sub-level, but also the suicidal and the economic level. And now here you just have the respective model in full size. What you can see here is another differentiation, extension, and interconnection of integrated taxonomies of power and control. So this is the table from the last slide in full size, and what you can see here is an elaboration of control processes, control via interests, via institutions, ideologies, and identities, as well as control through process of objectification and subjectification, and increasing internalized psychological control and governance in terms of what's called here organismic integration. This figure here builds on the last table in terms of some additional considerations regarding the structure, relationships, tensions, and dynamics in the model. And what you can see on top here is this matrix of control processes through objectification and subjectification, that is external versus internalized control, as well as through abstract and symbolic versus embodied or structural processes. And on the lower part of the figure, you can actually see that each of the forms of control includes lower levels or includes previous forms or subordinated forms or the other forms as well. And finally, the core ideas of what I just elaborated in terms of the different types of control, objectification versus subjectification, abstract or symbolic, whether structurally embodied, are summarized in these bullet points. So this brings us back to the integrated multi-level systems model that is at the core of the research that I'm presenting today. And now I'm going to use the remaining time to talk a little bit about these lower parts of the model that are less well developed and still in need of theoretical elaboration. So with this, we've now come a full circle back to the where we started out, where I told you are the issues that we currently are interested in and are currently working on, or that are currently also under construction in ongoing research. And that specifically refers to the psychodynamic processes at this sub-level, at this deep structure of power, shaping sublime fantasies and character orientations. So I will not be able to go through this due to pressure of time, but I'll leave it up to you to read up on yourself, and I'll slowly will finish the presentation. So I want to finish this presentation with a quote by Deacon that goes on to say that to understand how we have become what we are requires following Foucault, not a theory, but an analytics, which examines how technologies of power and knowledge have since antiquity intertwined and developed into concrete historical frameworks. So this is the broader context in which the presentation I've shown you today is situated. And I want to add that to understand how we have become what we are also holds the potential or the hope of development and of transcending what we currently are and developing higher levels of consciousness and moral values. So thank you very much for your attention, and please don't hesitate to contact me.